Please subscribe, like, and share. I'm sharing a video with an engine that belonged to a car that burned out once and totally destroying the car, and the engine came back to me, and we have it here on the video. And I went through everything, looked at it, rechecked, put it together, and gave it back to the owner after I ran it on the run-up stand on carburetors because I wasn't set up for fuel injection. Amazingly, and I will share to everybody else, we all have our proven combination. This is usually off my routine. You know, I run AFR or trick flow heads, and this one here is a street Edelbrock. Now the Glidden Victor and all that, those are fine, but I'm talking street. It's hard to beat the AFR offerings and the TFS, Twisted Wedge 11R. Those are impressive. And this combination, nonetheless, surprised the daylights out of me. One thing, I have run engines before on a 302 short block factory, non-SVR aftermarket, and the most I can get out of them is about the high 580s, okay? 570, 580s at the rear wheel. And at that point, they're kind of shaky, and eventually it's happened more than enough times. You know, we got 9-second street cars running with a blower or turbo and running on the street going 980, 970. That's fast. And this car here surprised the daylights out of me because it's not my usual parcel that I run. Like I said, it's got an Edelbrock head. You know, the compression is low, 8.5 to 1, too low really for my taste. But one thing that ever came up, it will surprise you. Check this video out. 570, 580 is what I get out of gasoline. And this one here is on E85, and watch how much it makes on the dyno. And you will be pleasantly surprised. And like I've always said to a lot of people building street cars, run E85 if possible. But the main complaint is we couldn't get it where we're at. But if you can, and a lot of you guys, you know, in LA or whatever, can't get that kind of fuel, there is really no substitute. But watch this video and see what you think. This project started years ago when it was completed and burned down at one of my friend's shop, and it was a total loss. And the AC Cobra Factory 5 chassis on the foreground was also part of the car that was lost. Here's the damage to it. And G. Brown pulled the engine out and took it back to me, and that's where the story goes. And the video. Anyway, was that surprising? 630 something horsepower at the back wheel. That equates, when you add about 100, 125 more, you're looking at about a 750 horsepower engine. Stock block. Now, how did that happen? When I stated earlier at the start of this video, I get them at 570, 580 horsepower for years, and then they break. Once they detonate, everything looks good. But once you're on the edge of detonation or pre-ignition, that block is gone. All right? Now, if you have an aftermarket, more likely it'll stay together. It won't split the block in half. But your pistons might go out, or something will go wrong. Blow a rod, lose a rod bearing, something. Okay? But one good thing with this combination, like I've always stressed to everybody else, if possible, the difference between this 630 horsepower as opposed to the old combination that run with better cylinder heads, higher compression, they made 570, 580, but once they detonate, boom, block is gone. Now, this engine here in G. Brown's Mustang made 638, I think. Okay, 638. Now, that is impressive, but it's on E85. What is the difference between high octane gas or gas, pump gas with an octane booster? The octane booster, when you buy them, you know, at the auto parts and you add it on your tank, or eventually when you park it, it has a residue at the bottom of the gas tank. Same thing in the float of a carburetor when it sits. You see this sandy, rust-looking additive on the bottom of the float bowl or your gas tank. You won't have that with E85. Not only that, gasoline has more heat, okay? Meaning it's capable of producing more power. If you look at the heat content of the BTUs, it's a lot more than E85, but it has spikes, okay, in the combustion or ignition process. Those spikes is the one that'll detonate or get you in trouble. Now, E85 does not have as much heat content per fuel, okay, by volume, but it burns more consistent, it burns cooler, and there are no spikes. So you can predict and you can set your tune and fine-tune your engine without any of these spikes on your fuel that will lead to detonation or pre-ignition, and then that's when you damage it. If you can predict with stable fuel, which E85 is, it doesn't heat up the block as much, you run cooler, the inlet charge temperature is cooler as well, because E85, 85% alcohol, right? And then the other 15% is a regular gasoline that you and I run. That said, you can predict and put your baseline ignition fuel map, and you're not going to have a lot of these erratic or spontaneous combustion that you get with gasoline. This is the only difference between engines of the past that have done supercharged and turbo as well. Turbo, like I said on my other video, has a engine saving attributes that if you could find that video about turbos and how they save the engine, and you can make a lot more power with them compared to superchargers or nitrous or NA. Please do check that video. It's on here on my channel. Now, E85 being as consistent, you set your timing where you're at and your fuel, and you're not going to have a lot of these surprises which you will get with race gas or even high octane gas. But anyway, 630 out of a stock block, that's over 700, about 750 flywheel horsepower, is very impressive. But mind you, not like my other racer friends, this is a street car. They were stretching the RPM. They're going up high RPM, 66, 68 on a 347. Here G knocked it down to 6,000. And he told me he didn't want to go any higher than that. He knows he'll make more power. In fact, on the dyno, still climbing high. And it was still capable of producing more power. But he cut it off. Smart. Okay? Now, if we use this combination with a flat top, not a dish, okay, with 10-5, 11-1, it'll produce more power. The cam here is about 223, 540 lift on a 112. That's what I have in it. Okay, with an 8.5, roughly 8.8 compression ratio, very mild. Okay, so my old combination, a lot of bigger camshaft, higher compression. Should be good for another 60, 80 horsepower on top of what this is gonna do. But once I try it on E85, then I'll tell you what happens. I might have another project. A max effort factory block that, like I said, used around 570, 580. I think with E85, we could see 15, 20% more. Okay, so that in itself would be quite a revealing setup for us to take note. But I feel confident, especially if it's a turbo. But if it's a supercharger, we run E85, then we got something going. I think we could possibly make 670 at the back wheel, 660 easily. Okay, without maybe even 680. Heaven knows till we try. I don't have all the answers. Experience gives us that, gives us the answer and gives us wisdom. Not to try it again if we blow up, or we go that direction with a little bit more caution. Please like, subscribe, share, and let's keep this going. Okay, so hopefully we can have better and better videos coming up for everybody to take note, enjoy, and keep us a little bit more informed. Thank you very much.